Isiqhumama saseMelika sanonusela umengameli wamajaji kuleli ngesamba sika-600 million amarandi. Ikhomishana kaZondo imfuna ibhadla ejele umengameli wakuleli omnumzane Jacob Zuma. Izwe laseNiger selikhomba inquluni yekati intando yeningi. Kanti iParliament lase-Australia lithi lizovula uphenyo oluzimele noluzoshesha ngemva kokuqhubwa kwezinsolo zokudlwengula ngaphakathi kulo. Asinibingelele sinamukele kuSizulu kuGalaxy TV kanti udaba lwethu liphambili ke yilolu. Umengameli wamajaji kuleli umnumzane Mogoeng useveze ukuthi wanonusela isiqhumama saseMelika ngesamba semali esingango-600 million amarandi uma nje kuphela wayezovuma ukuthi kushintshe umthetho ezinkantolo zakuleli zenziwe isimanje manje. Mogoeng bekhuluma engxoxweni esiteshini somsakazo iRadio 702 nalapho ebeze khona ukuthi isiqhumama sizelanga kodwa sathumela uthile amhlonipha kakhulu. Nalokwenza kube likhunisathi ukuthi akhiphe imininingwane egcwele ngalolu daba. Mogoeng uqhube wathi watshela ukuthi angenza noma ngabe yini ayithandayo ngale mali kodwa wathi wasichitha lesicelo.
We took it upon ourselves as the leadership of the judiciary not only to meet, have a press conference and have these issues addressed, but we had a high-level engagement with the executive led by the former president, came up with, points of agreement in relation to how we're going to relate going forward, and it has worked by and large.
More recently, we've seen politicians, members of parliament talk about traumatized old judges, judges criticized personally, both in terms of race and gender, threats to go back to the bush because of biased judges. Your response to that?
Typical of a situation where people are frustrated, people are in pain and believe that one unfairness or the other has been meted out to them. But we've been very careful in addressing them. I know that some people who put questions to me expected me to confront those personalities head on. I think it's counterproductive. I chose to articulate the principles so that the people have a fair sense of where we stand in relation to this issue and how far we may be willing to go if necessary.
Kanti uma sihlabela phambili ke samukela udaba oluthi ikhomishana kaZondo ephenya ngokuqhwaqwa kwamandla ombuso ithi imfuna ebhadla ejele wabe ngumengameli wakuleli umnumzane Jacob Zuma nimsela ngokugcwaneka nokungahlimi phezobulungiswa kuleli. Usekela umengameli wejaji elikhulu Raymond Zondo uthi uZuma kufanele atitinywe ngosozo oluncane nikwe nje iminyaka emibili ebhadla endlini emnyama. Kanti ngokwekhomishana uZuma waqala ukugcwaneka ngenyanga lwezi ngesikhathi sekhefu lekhomishana ngonyaka wedlule. Kamuva nje wale waphethwe kuvela phambi kwale khomishana esola ukuthi ichemile kanti ikhomishana yona ethi uZuma uphinde wahluleka ukuletha ama-affidavit ngodaba lwasePrasa kanye nolwase-Eskom yize noma ikhomishana yayimiyalele kuba yenze kanjalo. Ungqongqoshe wezemfundo emazingeni aphansi unkosikazi Angie Mtshekga ubonga unconcoza ngokuxhasa abalitholile ezinhlakeni ezahlukene ngemva kokuphazamiseka kokufunda kubhedwe kobhubhane le-COVID-19 kuleli. Ngesikhathi sevala umbiko wemphumela kamatikuletsheni nebethulwa bezindaba nezolonke Mtshekga uthi abacwaningi nongoti bezempilo badlala indima enkulu ekuhlahleni indlela yaphambili ngoluzikole. Ubesencoma nohulumeni wakuleli ngokwazi ukumvikela ngesikhathi sezimnethe umphakathi uvuka indlobano ophikisana nokuvulwa kwezikole. Kanti nezinhlaka zomphakathi akazishiyanga ngaphandle njengalokho zibambe iqhaza elikhulu ekuhlanganeni unyaka obunzima kakhulu nakwabezemfundo.
In all our statutory bodies, our researchers who kept on giving us quality information about what to do, what not to do, what to fear, so that even when we're debating about opening and closing of schools, we were armed by information not only from our department but from different researchers in our country. Your pediatricians used to give us information. We want before to say these ones will cough COVID quicker, so don't keep them away from school. So by the time health and everybody said, these ones will survive, the researchers in the country always want us to say these small ones will cough this thing off. Don't keep them away from homes. For that, we're very grateful for them to really arm us with all the necessary information. But I really want to also thank our sister departments. I want to thank South Africans in general. I also want to thank Cabinet, because there were times when it was really tough to make decisions between whether we open or we close. And Cabinet stood by us, they guided us. If they felt we were too enthusiastic, they were able to say, pull back. South Africans are rightfully concerned because no one knows what this thing. So slow down, then we can move. So they really supported us greatly with the Minister of Health. For that, we are really. And as I say, I also want to thank the government party. I'm not saying them, they helped. They had to help us in communities, mobilize people. When schools were vandalized, I used to run home and say, our schools are being finished, please go and organize the structures to protect our schools. And they did come to the party. And I think it's fair. I give a rekis, but it's fair to thank them. I really want to thank them and the community structures, your policing forums, which helped us. So program director.
Kanti iqembu le-Democratic Alliance lithi liphoxekile ngezinga lokuphasa kwabafundi bakamatikuletsheni kulo nyaka.
To support. But I'm very happy that indeed, in the midst of all the difficulties, we're able to stay at 76.2%, and as I said, with more quality passes this year. In terms of bachelors, this year we are at 36.4 compared to 36.9 in 2019. So the difference is 0.4% in terms of the bachelor passes. 0.5 years. But I'm told, which I am not using here, that there are more learners, if you look at numbers, who got bachelors, but I normally don't combine percentage and numbers. So what helps you is, of the 100 that had written, how many passed? And again, in terms of diplomas, we got 26% of our learners getting diplomas. We had 13.7 number of our learners getting your higher certificate. And this other one also, which I don't want to get the certificate of the ones who get national senior certificate, Baba Madota score, it's 0.01%. So only 61 of them will have been passed at your national senior certificate, 0.01%. So we want to say 1,777,435 distinctions we had this year, which is an increase of 13.1% from the distinctions that we had achieved in 2019. So there's an increase in terms of distinctions. And we must commend the following provinces that they contributed immensely towards the distinctions: KZN, Gauteng, Western Cape, Eastern Cape, and Limpopo. That Limpopo gives us very good results at individual level.
You have proven that performance cannot be based on overall pass rate only. There are many dimensions to performance, and you have demonstrated that. And we are eternally grateful. We are very proud of you, as the minister said. The minister likes saying, the world is your oyster. We have prepared you for 12 years, and we are proud to release you to the world. Let's put our hands together for the class of 22. And in the same vein, as the minister has conveyed already, our unsung heroes and heroines are our teachers. Men and women who had, in carrying out this task, for not thanking our president, minister. I remember that day when we went to present to the National Coronavirus Command Council, and subsequent to that, we went to cabinet. When the whole nation was divided over the reopening of schools, cabinet and the president stood together and gave us very clear instructions that you are going to reopen schools provided that you save lives and you save the academic year. We are eternally grateful to the leadership of our president and our cabinet. We are led exceptionally well in our country. Let's put our heads together for the president. And lastly, Minister, I want to thank all the officials, especially the senior managers also from the department, the media, the organizing team. Mr. Mhlanga, you're doing very well, but you bring some of the songs too early, man. They were supposed to have been processed through a submission. You missed, processing these things through the submission and then before presenting them to the public. Otherwise, thank you very much. I want to thank our parents. Thank you for displaying your confidence in us And again, thank our teachers for a wonderful job. Thank you very much, and thank to one and all. Thank you.
Izinyunyana zabasebenzi zizwakalise ukujabulela ukusatshalaliswa komnokoloto we-COVID-19 ezweni lonke lakuleli laseNingizimu Afrika. Lokhu sikuveze ngesikhathi abaholi bazo boyithatha wabo umnokoloto izolo esibhedlela Steve Biko Academic Hospital ePitoli. USuccess Matayitsana ongunobhala jikelele wenyana i-National Union of Public Service and Allied Workers odujabule kakhulu ngalokho kanti uyafisa ukuthi bonke abantu baye kuyogoma. Ngakolunye uhlangothi udokotela Cedric Sihlangu we-South African Medical Association uhambe emagameni kaMatayitsana njengalokho ethi abantu mabaye emtholampilo kuyogoma wasekubona njengoseshini bameseka uhulumeni wakuleli.
It was a wonderful experience, I must say, especially after the reservations that one had previously. Vaccine gave us confidence that at least there are people in the country, in our own laboratories who are testing, who are doing the actual testing.
This is a mammoth task. It's certainly not an easy undertaking. However, what the government has demonstrated is sheer keenness to deliver this vaccine to every citizen. So I think we must give them some credit. They are trying their level best, and as union, we want to support those efforts. Look, it was a seamless experience, very straightforward. I'm actually okay. I'm not feeling dizzy, and I encourage everyone to actually go forth and get the vaccine.
There is nothing that our members and the general public need to fear about this vaccine. So if this vaccine will help reduce the number of hospitalizations and then also reduce the number of deaths, so why not? So there's no concern if this vaccine is going to work, and I'm very confident that it's going to help a lot of people.
Owayengungqongqoshe zokuthutha kuleli uDipo Petros usetshele ikhomishana kaZondo ukuthi inkampani zokuthutha kahulumeni iPrasa yayithole kanzima kusukela ngesikhathi engene ehhovisi ngosuku lokuqala. uPetros ubethule ubufakazi kwikhomishana kaZondo izolo kanti uzivumele ngokwakhe ukuthi wadonsa ngomnumzane Jacob Zuma ngesandla kungene ehhovisi lokuthutha lezokuthutha kule mboni. Uqhube wathi umthamo wabantu abasebenzisa izitimela kwakunzima ukuthwala kule mboni ngenxa yobukhulu bawo. Kanti ubeseveza ukuthi izingqinamba ezibhekene nePrasa kuyilezi ejwayelekile ezibhekana noma ngabe yiphi imboni esebenzayo kuleli.
Chairperson, I think if I have to start off from the statement that was issued by my legal representative with regard to my preparedness and readiness to cooperate and work with the Commission to be able to unravel some of the challenges that have been raised with regard to PRASA, I should, through you, Chairperson, probably start by indicating that I was deployed to PRASA by former President Zuma on the 9th of July 2013. It was exactly on a Monday like this. And I had the opportunity to appraise myself with the workings of all the entities, 12 of them, and 2 councils. The one is called the Licensing Council and the Regulating Councils that deals with aviation. And Chairperson, I would want to put before the Commission that PRASA, being as big as it is, was one of the biggest actually because of the importance of the service that it was providing to the people of South Africa. It is not easy to be a mass carrier. And PRASA had to transport commuters who were going to work, going to look for work, and at the same time transport students who were going to school, some people who are new qualified people who went to look for jobs. So it was a very important institution that I found under the stable, under transport. When I arrived in transport, Chairperson, transport was regarded as a family. And taking into consideration the challenges that you would find in a family, I then said to the team of men and women that we were working.
Iqembu i-Economic Freedom Fighters selithathe igxathu lokulekelela izikole esidonsa kanzima esifundazweni sase-Eastern Cape. Oyilungu laleli qembu ePhalamende uyoliswa yakho uhambele iPhilip Nikiwe Primary School ukuyonikela ngezicathulo kubafundi kanti ngesikhathi evakashile unqume umphathi walesikole ngomsebenzi omuhle ukusilawula ngendlela efanele noma singamile kahle kwezezimali. Kanti ubeseveza ukuthi kungenzeka sifake ngaphansi ekhwapheni laleli qembu lesikole sithole ukuthi sithole uxhaso noma ngabe yiluphi indlela uxhaso lesidingayo.
Kinds of issues where you say, we're not receiving help from Department of Education with equipment, we don't have PPE equipment, Commandant that we don't have masks, so every day some schools never need masks, isn't it? Because that should be how it's done, because as a family we don't have enough money to be buying masks for London. If you don't have enough textbooks for children, if you don't have enough proper desks for children, if your feeding scheme is not enough for Abandwana, I would like to hear some of those things so that Nati can see where we can help you as staff as well, as much as you want to help Abandwana, so that you guys go to I'd like to say thank you to the RCT for inviting me, and I'm very happy to see you as Mama Omhle, who is heading this beautiful, beautiful school. Gamandla. You don't seem sad, you don't seem defeated, you seem very proud. And you should be proud because Anjina 14 Mama are not very far and coming. So
kanti masibuye ekhefini anqindiwe amandla emali eSudan ukuze kuheha ababolekisi bezimali bangaphandle.
Make massive moves.
The space race has already started. Russia had got the first object into space.
The coast is as wild today as it was when Europeans settled the continent.
Enormous beasts with enormous thirst. The teams are primed and ready.
They got the first animal into space, and they got the first person.
Time to see what the boys can do.
Make massive moves with STARSAT. Make massive moves.
How can you say that?
That is what it is.
Your mother eloped with someone else.
I just think this is such a genius idea. I think it's amazing.
I can be happy.
It's inside you. It's inside of all of us.
It's about cooking smart that are nutritious and delicious.
President Trump acknowledging the coronavirus death toll could be significantly higher.
You don't want to do this. There is nothing you can take.
Jerusalem.
Surviving roommates scared.
The heavyweights arrive.
Inside finds Petulia, blocked by Jane.
This is the will of God.
Make massive moves with STARSAT. Make massive moves.
Deceiver!
There isn't any time to waste then.
We can't save everyone in this war.
One moment, that's all we got.
You're locked in here with me.
Make massive moves with STARSAT.
Peace. Asiphinde sinamukele kwezizulu Galaxy TV kanti tebelelo liphambili besibike ukuthi umengameli majaji kuleli Mogoeng uthi wanunusela isiqhumama semelika ngesamba semali engu-600 million yamarandi ukuze kushintshwe isimo sezinkantolo zakuleli. Kanti uma sihlebela phambili sesamukela udaba luthi izwe laseSudan nelikhungethwe izinkinga zezikweletu seliphindele linqinda amandla emali kuleli izwe ukuzama ukuheha ababolekisi bezimali basemazweni angaphandle kanjalo kanye ne-International Monetary Fund. Leli izwe selikhahlanyezwe kakhulu izimpi zombangazwe lisempidlangweni ukubuyisela isimo kwesejwayelekile njengalokwisimo sokusiya ngokuya sibabucayi. Kanti uhulumeni obusayo usefunga wagomela ukuthi uzolibuyisela esimeni esifanele kwezomnotho nokuzinza kwezepolitiki.
As Sudan emerges from decades of international isolation, it's trying to overcome a crippling economic crisis and access debt relief. On Sunday, its central bank sharply devalued the currency, announcing a new regime to unify official and black market exchange rates. The change is a key reform demanded by foreign donors and the International Monetary Fund. But it's been delayed for months as shortages of basic goods and rapid inflation complicated things. The central bank will set a daily indicative rate. Banks and exchange bureaus are required to trade within 5% above or below that rate. The central bank's governor told reporters that authorities would not control the rate, though Finance Minister Jibril Ibrahim said unspecified foreign funds were on their way to Sudan and the central bank could intervene if needed. This decision is our decision, Ibrahim said. We decided that our economy is at a situation that cannot be fixed without taking this decision. Officials said steps had been taken to streamline imports of strategic commodities and limit imports of non-essential goods ahead of the devaluation. The success of the transition is seen as crucial to stability in a volatile region.
Izwe laseNiger liqhuba ukhetho lukazwelonke noluzoba ingqophamlando njengalokhu lelizwe kuzoba ngokuqala liyongena entandweni yeningi. Kanti umengameli sesihlalweni kulele izwe uMuhammadu Isufono umemezele ukuthi yena uzokwehla esikhundleni ngemva kwalolu khetho. Kanti kubheka ukuthi kudlana imilalo ezimbanga ezimbili nokuloyo wakwaba umengameli phambilini uMohamana Osamane kanye noyiqembu elibusayo uMohamed Bazoum.
Vote counting was underway in Niger on Monday in a presidential runoff that was marred by the deaths of 7 election workers. They were killed in the rural commune of Dago, around 60 miles from the capital Niamey, when an electoral commission vehicle hit a landmine. A reminder of the threat posed by Islamic militants as the West African nation heads towards its first ever democratic transition of power. Dago is close to the border with Mali in a region plagued by violence. An attack on 2 villages near the border in January killed at least 100 civilians. There was such incident in recent memory. Militants linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State operate along Niger's west border with Mali and Burkina Faso, while Boko Haram is active along the southeastern border with Nigeria, making security one of the dominant campaign issues for the election. But security is not the only concern. Niger is one of the world's poorest nations and suffers recurring droughts and destructive flooding. The global health crisis and weak prices for its main export, uranium, have added to its problems. Student Hassana Ibrahim Adama cast her vote in the capital Niamey.
I want everything to change, especially for students, education, and the way classes are run and other things. I want everything to change.
Sunday's voting followed the first round on December 27th, in which ruling party candidate Mohamedou Bazoum won around 39% of the vote to former President Mahamat Usman's 17%. Bazoum then won the endorsement of the candidates who came in third and fourth and was the favorite of going into the runoff. Early results released by the Electoral Commission on Monday gave Bazoum a slim lead and full results are expected by Friday.
Izwe laseChina selitshele iMelika ukuthi inqamule unswinyo kwezohwebo ukuze kuvuseleleke ubudlelwano phakathi kwalamazwe asephenduke enkukhuni empaka kamuva nje. Oyikhansela kuhulumeni waseChina uWang uthi sekuyisikhathi sokuthi lamazwe amabili aqale izingxoxo zokubuyisana njengalokhu ubudlelwano bawo babumonci ngesikhathi kusaphethe uDonald Trump eMelika. Kanti iChina iphinde yanxusa iMelika ukuthi ihloniphe leliyazwe iyekele kunyenkoloza iqembu elibusayo lamakhomanisi nokuxambukela ezindabeni zangaphakathi zepolitiki kuleli yazwe.
China wants to hit the reset button on its relationship with the U.S. Ties between the two sank to their lowest in decades under former U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, with Joe Biden in the top job, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said on Monday Beijing stood ready to reopen constructive dialogue with Washington.
It is natural that both sides have differences and conflicts. What is key is utilizing dialogue to get to know more about each other and not be defined by differences between both countries.
But he also laid out the, quote, necessary conditions for that to happen.
We hope the U.S. will adjust policies as soon as possible to remove unreasonable tariffs on Chinese products, to remove unilateral sanctions on Chinese companies and research and scientific institutions, to remove irrational suppression on China's tech sector's rise.
Wang floated the possibility of the two countries working together on issues like the ongoing pandemic and climate change. But while Biden has said he would like to work with Beijing on those issues, the new White House has also signaled it will keep up pressure on Beijing. Biden has voiced concern about, quote, coercive and unfair trade practices on China's part. He has also endorsed a Trump-era determination of genocide against Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. Washington and Beijing have repeatedly clashed on issues of trade, human rights, and geopolitical disputes in the South China Sea. Wang once again urged the U.S. to respect its core interests and not to interfere with what it calls its internal affairs.
Nina bakapusha bukhali saziguqisa Zulu ngalesikhathi sihlangabezeni futhi kusasa ngesikhathi esifanayo malibe luhlu usuku.